inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in you, 'cause real women don't bitch, no. Real women don't, 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 real women don't bitch.
Hey, thank you for joining me on the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. This is your proud host, August Crenshaw, aka Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. I am the #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs because building mental muscle is necessary in order to implement successful business strategies. This show has been created for the woman who is not excuse-driven and needs help building a profitable business. I will be interviewing women from various fields who are willing to break the silence on struggles that specifically affect female entrepreneurs. Welcome to a show where I and guest speakers from time to time share our methods that help us beast our business no matter what is going on in our lives. Whether you are an online or brick and mortar business owner, this show is for you. We will hit every angle, personal, professional, and spiritual. Why? Because on any given day, you get hit with shit from a scenario involving one, more, or perhaps all of the above. It all impacts you and your mindset towards your business. I have made it my personal mission to provide a space where we dive deep into the BS we face on a day-to-day basis. Bam! Back again, part 3. Who's been following us? It's me and Samoa. Say hey, Samoa.
Hey.
We've been beasting every Friday in April, and we're on the 3rd one. And guess what? We ain't stopping. The quality is still going to be there. We're bringing the action. We're bringing the knowledge, the wisdom, all of that stuff. We're talking about websites. Come on now. You have people that'll tell you, you don't need a website. You can put all your stuff on, Facebook, your Facebook business page is like your new website. And it's like, yeah, but Facebook will shut your ass down any given second. It's one of those things. It's, some people will say, well, I've never had a business card. I don't have this and I don't have that. Well, you might not have a business card anymore, but your website is like a super duper huge business card / resume / all of these wonderful things. And so the bottom line is I don't know any business owners that are serious about their business and don't have some form of a website. You can call them lead pages, whatever it is you want, but at the end of the day, it's some type of online presence. And this is a really tricky world out here. People that just have the ability to make pretty stuff are labeling themselves as graphic designers. People who know a little bit of coding or is telling folks that they build websites. And Samoa has been bringing the juice. She has been talking to you guys about what you really have to have in order internally and externally before you spend your hard-earned cash on a website, or even that just extra money you got hanging around. We don't want to throw the money down the drain. So part 1, we talked about your confidence. And then part 2, we talked about expression. And we were just building up this theme about how when you're so authentic and raw on your websites, you can translate that and you can protect yourself from like the wrong type of clients. I mean, the conversation was getting deep. It got really, really deep. So we're back for part 3. And we're going to start talking about establishing connections. So Samoa, I got to pass the mic to you. You kick off this conversation and let's get this thing going. What do you have for the people today?
So in the last episode, we talked about how your website is a shield, right? When you're really, truly expressing yourself. But the great thing about having a website that really expresses who you are is that, oh no, it's that, can you hear that?
It doesn't make a difference. I had to turn mine off. So you guys, we were bad. We didn't cut off our cell phones and stuff. So anyway, this is not, Lord, prefabricated. This is like off the cuff we just do what we do. So we ain't looking for perfection. Let's just keep rolling.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, when you truly express who you are on your website, then you're making the connections with the right people. You are making the connections with your ideal client. And the great thing about connection is that it pushes people to do things simply because they feel like they know you, simply because they feel like they like you. And the thing, like, we're already good at making connections, right? Like, as business owners, that's something that we already do naturally. We connect with the people we want to help and all that good stuff. But the great thing with a website is that it's a visual connection. And in a world where the average person gets distracted in less than 8 seconds, where people form a first impression in 50 milliseconds, not even 50 seconds, but 50 milliseconds, having a website that automatically and instantly connects with your people is the best thing that you can do for your business, because it's just creating that connection without you even having to try. You don't have to say, hey, look at me trying to stand out from all of your other competitors, because it's right there, and you don't have to tell them, you just have to show them.
Absolutely. So in other words, we know that it's the truth. People judge a book by its cover. And your cover is your website. But I love how you were talking about making the connections, and you can, go wherever you want to go. But I just want to tell you what I thought about when you were speaking. Everything we did before, it was about this internal thing. It was like, okay, are you confident enough? Are you good enough with expressing yourself? How do you put yourself out there so people can know who you are? But then the connection is also so people can feel like there's something that you know about them. You understand them. And it's like, oh, okay, well, this is why I like her, because, she does this too. She feels this way too. I like bright colors too. Ooh, she's raw and real too. She cusses, she doesn't cuss, she's spiritual, she's whatever it is. But wow, I feel like when I'm going through this website, she knows me too. That's the connection. Go ahead. Your eyes are beaming.
Yes, that's actually the first client that I ever got, the first of many, who booked a session with me. At the time, I was offering coaching sessions and without an application, so people could just book the session with me. I never expected someone to just book a session with me without talking to me, because it never happened before. But the first time it happened, when she booked the session with me, and I looked at my phone and I was like, who is this? Like, who? I don't know this person. Mm-hmm. And so I reached out to her. Obviously, I was like, why did you give me your money? Like, this wasn't like 10, 20 bucks. Like, why'd you just pay for this session out of the blue? Like, who are you? What's going on? And what can I help you with? And she said, well, honestly, I've been looking at a lot of branding experts in Facebook groups and stuff like that. I've been going through all of their websites, and your website was the first one that caught my eye. So first it caught her eye, and then it pushed her to read my copy. And she was like, I felt like you were speaking directly to me. I felt like you knew everything that I needed, and you had the knowledge and experience to help me solve X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. All right, that's great. And that's the thing. It's like, you could hire the best copywriter ever. You could, I know, like, when we're starting, we hire coaches to help us figure out our target audiences and all that good stuff. So you could hire people to help you figure that out and be able to speak to them so that they feel like you're hitting their souls. That is incredibly important. And if you don't have that, then no matter how pretty your website is, it's not going to do anything. But you need something that screams you, that is super unique to you, and that catches the attention. Because if you don't catch their attention, they're not going to read your amazing copy. They're not going to look at how great you are or how much you can help them. It doesn't matter how amazing you are or how amazing your copy is, because people don't like to read. They're lazy. We're driving away from the whole reading population. They don't want to read unless they feel like this is interesting and this will serve me. And the first way to do that is by grabbing their attention. And if you can have a basic template with your words, and it could be the best copy ever, but if they go on your website and they don't see anything that catches their attention, they're not reading your copy, and they're not buying from you, and they're not connecting with you.
Absolutely. And I want to go back to the whole thing about hiring someone to write the copy. People writing the copy, they can't do anything for you that you don't give to them. They literally can. And I've invested in programs before, and I realized that it was very premature. And it was like, why? Now that I'm more experienced, why did they even let me in there when I couldn't even articulate, simple things like, okay, what's going to happen, when a woman works with me? I already know, down to the, it is not even about having professionally laden bullet points, because like you said, we're talking about writing copy. I know that when you get through, you're going to tell somebody, oh, I already know that your website is going to be like visually beautiful. You're telling people what you do, that when you get through, that you're going to make sure that they know their clients, that they're branded well, that their expression is on point, so people feel connected to them. When you can't say the basic rudimentary things that you do to connect with people, and you can't say that, look, people like me because they like the tough love that I give, they like the swift kick in the ass combined with the compassion. Those little bitty things that you are uncomfortable saying are like the blocks that keep you from getting your ideal client, because saying something like that, the average person will say, you know what, I need a coach that's going to give me a little push. And because that's the type of statement, and this is a really, really good one. A lot of times people don't want to say something like that, right? Because, oh, wow, people say, I can't be about your dream more than you are. They'll say something like that. And so sometimes people steer away from those kind of comments. I'm the kind of coach that's going to be there to push you. I've had somebody tell me before, August, you shouldn't say that, because if you say that, that means that you're going to get lazy clients. But I'm so freaking confident in what I do, and I understand what I mean by it. I literally put it out there. If you're going to be about your business and you want to build your dream, then I'm going to be there to help you do it. And you know what? Entrepreneurship gets a little tricky. It gets a little hard. And so, yeah, you're going to have times when you're blazing, and you're going to have times when you need me to give you an extra push or put a foot to your ass. And I do that with love. And so I'm there. And so my ideal clients, they love that. So if me and you were working on a website, you might even literally use that jargon, and you will put that in there. And that's going to connect. The person's going to feel like they're talking to me, because they're going to be like, dang it, you know what? I'm really good at what I do. But when I got my accountability partners, some people just perform better with accountability. And so who are you? What are you saying? How are you connecting? You got to do that. But this is about the words still. We're graduating now from just the words and the copy. You're talking about this visual. Think about somebody that you had that maybe even had it. I don't know, maybe they had a decent website, but once you came in and you were like, whoa, these are some reasons why I needed to change this. You made some shifts and some changes, and they're like, wait a minute, people are literally subscribing to my email list, or they're doing like they did with you. They're clicking on the link and they're buying stuff when that wasn't happening. What kind of issues did you see that needed to be improved with the visualizations on the website, not just the copy?
The thing with many entrepreneurs and their websites, and I have one specific example, and this person hired many designers to help her out. So she hired professionals to help her out. And the thing with inexperienced designers and DIYers is that they find all the cool things that they can do on their website, and they do all the things. They go and they just do everything. They're like, oh, this can move that way, and we can put that there, and this and that, and we're going to use Canva to do this. And it's like, so the biggest thing that drives people away actually is just confusion. Because if people are feeling confused, they're not going to want to give you their money. They don't want to work with you. People are looking for clarity. And they go on your website, and even if you can provide that clarity in whatever way, they just get more confused, so they're going to go away. So when I went on her website, I felt confused. I felt like the first time she told me, oh yeah, this is my website, blah, 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 blah. She messaged me saying that she went on my site because she was crying over her website. So she knew something was wrong. She just didn't know what it was and how to fix it. And so she said she was crying over it. And then when she saw my website, she literally dried her tears. She was like, this girl can help me. So I'm like, okay, let me look at your site. I'm sure it's not so bad to cry over. Like, it's not that bad. And then I go on her site, and I just felt like attacked.
Wow.
Like I needed to be put on the defense and fight back. I didn't want to dive in, but because it's my job, I did. And by the time I got to her shop page, I had a headache. And when I got to the shop page, I didn't even understand what to do to buy her product. She was selling products. I didn't even know what to click to buy the products that I needed. So the main thing that a lot of business owners have issues with is that their website is just crazy. It's just not laid out properly. It's not organized. And people want to feel that clarity. They want to feel like you're that beacon. You're the Jesus for to solve all of their problems. And Jesus did not confuse people. So you shouldn't be confusing people. And you may be a boss at what you do, and you know exactly what to do to get your clients there. But their first impression of you isn't that. Their first impression is, this lady does not know what she's doing. She's super confusing. She's all over the place, even if you're not. So some people have a great eye for design. Some people hire designers who help them out, but those designers are trying to show how great they are. Because what I find with a lot of designers is they have the skill, they went to school, they know all of the basic stuff, but because they're trying to prove to these clients that, oh yeah, I'm a great designer, I can help you, they just put all the things on their website. So they put so much shit on their site that it just drives people away. The site ends up not loading properly too, so people get annoyed and they get off. And they just feel attacked. So they're just like, screw this, I'm going to go to somebody else. And bam, you lose lots and lots of customers. You don't lose one or two. You lose tons of customers because this is constantly happening.
Wow. And so the only reason why and you can express that you had a headache looking at her site was because you were looking at it to help her, because the average person would have never gotten past page 1. And I know that this might even kind of be going off tangent just a little bit, but I wanted to bring up that you taught me something really quick. Everywhere that I've been, in all the groups that I've been with, and I've been in some groups that have been, high ticket, and they were like, yeah, when you do your landing page or whatever, make sure you got this big old huge video at the top. Make sure you put it on autoplay and put all of these things up there. And you were like, oh my God, August, number one, don't put the video on autoplay. And can you use more simplicity with the things that you do? Because I personally, you guys, I've used Samoa for a lot of things, but I listened to her wisdom and I'm like, okay, there's some things that even with my branding that I want a little bit more solidified before I let her go ahead and take the nesty plunge and design my website for me. But it's just all of these little bitty things. And I know what you're talking about because I've been on people's websites and it's like, oh, cool. They must have realized how to put a pop-up in because the pop-up came up and then I shut it down. But then 15 seconds later, another pop-up came up. And so I shut it down because they obviously figured out that they could set the damn timer. And then, it's a link over here to click this and a link over here to click that. And I know from listening to you too, that subconsciously all of those links all over the place and not properly spread out is like saying desperation. Get something, from me now. Little bitty things like that I would have never thought about from my perspective, especially when I was a newbie. It was like, well, make sure they see the link first. So when they see the link that they can click and they can just go, but they don't know me. And, so it's that awkwardness of the date. Like, hey, honey, can I take you to the room? It's like, no, we're not trying to enter into anywhere. No, don't click the link just there. So like literally visually, what in the hell is going on with your website? So you guys should feel convicted. I know being in her presence, I feel convicted. I'm like, I don't even want to talk about my website around someone. Like, if I make anything that's visual on Canva, I'm like, if Samoa sees my post on Facebook and she loves it, I've done a good job.
Aw. I'm flattered.
When she says she likes something that I put together, I'm like, I'm in there like that there, so the real talk. So it's important, you guys. She's like really dropping the atom bombs here. Visually, what is your website doing to people? Do you even know? I mean, that's the biggest thing, because you said that before, that woman was crying. She knew something was off with her website because it was not doing what it was supposed to do. But that's the thing. A lot of times we know something is wrong, but we don't know what is wrong. And it doesn't hurt you to, get the advice. Even if you do end up DIYing it, to sit down and have a consultation with you is worth its weight in gold. It's still worth way more than what you charge people just for you to, give them advice and to give them pointers, or even to pay for your tech training to understand what to do and how to do with websites is highly beneficial. Are you thinking of anything else before I ask a question? Because this is your segment, so give us all the nuggets and stuff that you want to drop.
One last thing I just wanted to say is that for anybody listening and who is DIYing it, just because you find something and you think it's cool and you can do it, it doesn't mean that you should. So yeah, your website is all about you and expressing who you are, but it's also, and in the next podcast episode, we will talk more about this. It's also about the user's experience, because you're trying to sell to them. You're trying to court them, basically, like we talked about. So you need to be able to attract them to you. And if you're doing all the things and you're throwing all this stuff in their face, they're not going to want to find out more. It's like when you're dating someone, like let's say you're a woman, you're dating somebody, like you don't, like on the first date, you don't just dish out everything, who you are and all your secrets to that person. There's no mystery. The person doesn't want to dive in more to get to know more about you. And the thing with what I realize a lot of entrepreneurs do, because I do have entrepreneurs who at first they try to guide the way their website is going to be designed, and I'm like, that's not your job, that's mine, so calm down. And they want everything on the homepage, and it's like the homepage's job is literally to be pretty and attract people to you, so people are like, ooh, that's interesting, I want to find out more. Just like when you're a woman and you're single and you want to find someone to date, you like make yourself all pretty and stuff to attract the right person, and then when the person comes to talk to you, you're not like, oh, this is who I am, this is what I like, blah, 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 blah. They're like, hi, you're beautiful. And you're like, thank you. And you have like a nice little conversation, and then you start date up. And you continue that relationship and see if there's a good relationship. So it's the same thing with your website. Like, your homepage isn't here to be like, this is who I am, this is what I do, click this link, buy this product, book a meeting with me, hello. Like, it's just like, oh, hi, it's nice to meet you. I see you think I'm pretty. I see you're attracted to me. Here's what you can do to find out more about me. And that's that.
I like that. And when you were doing that, I was sitting there thinking about the episode, thinking about a woman being like, oh, hi. So you think I'm pretty? Well, by the way, I'm 42. I have 4 kids. I want to be married. I want to get a house, a car, and blah, 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 blah. And I work here. It's like, oh, okay. You see those in the movie scenes when they do like the speed dating, and stuff like that. And yeah, it is really awkward. And I love that analogy. And I love the imagery with that, because as you were talking, and I was just thinking about, is your website fostering that communication, subconsciously, when the person comes and says, oh, I like you, I think you're pretty, and you say, oh, well, thank you. I actually have purple hair because it's my favorite color. And so what's your favorite color too? What is your website doing? Because in a relationship building process and a meet and greet, there has to be back and forth conversation. So it goes back to what we were saying in the beginning, the connection. If your website is just screaming, once again, anything I'm saying, I know it because of you. Your website, if all it's screaming is, this is me, 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 this is what I got, this is what I got, this is what I got, this is what I got. Do you want it? Do you want it? Click, 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 click. It's going to be like, okay, so she's not thinking about anything else but herself. So what type of conversation is your website inviting people to? So visuals, I want to go here with you. And I know that I have in the past misinterpreted what visuals should look like and what they should be. And I know that in the past that I have wanted to go to like Adobe and 123 RF and all these different places and buy stock images and do that. And then I really, really thought that based on my personality and my eye, that I was picking something that was really unique and cool for my website. And then I saw like a Facebook ad and somebody else is using that same freaking picture. And you talked about this before about how every site that you do is unique. Nobody's site looks the same. It's not the same color palettes and all of that stuff. Talk to the people who are trying to make their site look good with professional stock images and, things like that on their site. And what are some do's or don'ts, your pros or cons? I don't know, wherever you want to take it.
So even though I haven't invested in branding photography just yet, I always suggest to all my clients who can afford it to go that route, because nobody else will have the same images as you do. And when you do the branding photography, don't just hire a photographer to take pictures of you and things that match your brand colors. That's not what I mean by branding photography. I'm talking about somebody who is a branding expert and also a photography expert, so they know how to combine those two together. Just like when you're trying to get a website done and you want a branded website, you don't just go to a web designer. You go to a branding expert who has web design skills. So it's the same. Yeah, like me. So so it's the same thing. But if you can't do that, you know, you're like trying to put your money together and you're looking at stock photos and stuff, avoid free stock sites, please. Just don't do the free stock sites. It doesn't help. It doesn't work. Everybody else is doing it, and if you're trying to stand out, you're just gonna be another voice in the crowd. So don't do the free stock sites. Invest in good quality stock photos. I personally use Adobe stock because I am an Adobe person and I just love everything they do. So like there are a lot of different stock sites that you can use, but the one that I use is Adobe stock. What I also used the past year, I stopped using it because I felt like I collected enough stock pictures from them, and it has these really feminine, pretty stock, like branded stock photos that I use, that you'll see on my like posts and stuff like that. They're really pretty. And they're all branded, like they have different series and collections, and it's called Hot Stock. It's HAUTE stock. It's beautiful. It's amazing. I was so happy when I found them. So yeah, they have some really great branded stock photos for our specific industry, like the online world and online arena. The feminine, nice, pretty stock photos, like they have those. So in terms of pictures, like always pay for stock photos because it's always worth it. Standing out and really expressing yourself will always be worth it, especially in business, because people are bombarded by people who claim that they can help them all the time, who say that they have the #1 secret to 6 figures all the time. So they want someone unique. They want someone different. And the first and best way for you to grab their attention is with your visual. So with pictures, yes. People who think that they are designers because they use Canva. Power to you, because Canva has some really nice templates. Power to you. If you create your own templates on Canva, I give you props too, because I see that your templates, August, like they're actually created by you. Yeah. I saw them and I'm like, oh, look at her.
She likes me, y'all.
So yeah, if you do that, that's really cool too, because you're able to express yourself in your own unique way and you're not using the templates on Canva that everybody else is using. I remember I saw this really cool template that this lady used, and I've never seen it before. So I was like, oh, she's not even a designer and she did that by herself. Wow, that's so cool. And I was like, huh, okay. And then I'm like, I guess she hired somebody or whatever. And then I scrolled a couple posts down and somebody else used the same template for something else. And I was like, oh, okay.
And so, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, and there's the credibility. Like, it's not just because I'm a designer. That's where the credibility got lost. Because I'm like, she has her shit together. Look at that. Woo-woo. Good for her. She either got the design skills that she needed, or she hired somebody. So she's really getting herself up there. Look at that. Then I scroll down and I see somebody else with the same thing, different branding, but same image. And I was like, credibility lost. Does that mean she's not a boss? It doesn't mean that she's not a boss. I'm not judging her bossness. It's just that credibility where I was like, you're up there. It just kind of dropped a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I saw somebody else that had the same thing.
And I love that about you. I'm sorry. Do you want to finish your thought?
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I love that about you. I've never seen anybody's stuff look the same. And I know that there are some women, because a lot of women like stilettos and stuff like that. And that's it. But I've even seen you do like so many different things. Nobody's stuff looks the same. Even when you've done you've done a lot of natural hair care logos for a lot of people. None of them look the same. And I love that about you. And so let's kind of graduate the conversation. You know, we're talking about all of this stuff and that people's interest, I'm sure, is peaking by now. It's like, oh my God, so what do I do? What don't I do? What should I buy? What shouldn't I buy? Who should I talk to? Who shouldn't I talk to? Let's talk about this whole little rip-off thing, because it's been laced in this conversation. We've been talking about, you know, a lot of people are just taking money. They can make things look pretty, but just because they can do graphic design, it doesn't mean that they're good at branding. Somebody may design something for you and then use the same thing and design it for somebody else. There's so many things that can happen out here. Once again, your segment, lead the people. Let's talk about some things that prevent them from getting ripped off.
So the biggest thing that I see happening a lot in the industry is a lot of designers advertise themselves as custom. And I want to educate you guys on what a custom truly is. Because even recently, I didn't even realize that what I do is so special, because I hold myself to such a high standard. I assume everybody else does. So I was talking to a fellow designer, and she was like, how do you charge so much for your prices? And my prices aren't even that high, but whatever. I was like, oh, well, I mean, she's like, how do you justify that? I'm like, I don't need to justify it because I know my value. Plus, I create something custom and unique for these people. Like, you're paying for custom, unique work. Nobody else is going to have your stuff. And she was like, so what do you mean by custom? Do you like start from a template and then you put in some custom graphics? And I was like, I start with a blank page. When I start, there's just white on my screen. And then I start building from there. And she was like, oh, how do you do that? And I like told her like the tools that I use and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, well, I just use templates. Most of the designers I know use templates. And I was like, exactly. You just answered your own question for me, because and all of these designers, they're advertising themselves as custom designers. They're like, yeah, I'll create a custom website for you, but they're starting from a template. So how is it custom? They already have something that lays out what the design is going to look like. Whereas I do the research, I get to know you. I look for inspiration literally everywhere. You know, I dream about your design. Like, I put all of my blood, sweat, and tears into creating something that's uniquely you. So right now I'm working on 2 different designs right now, with 2 different clients, and it's completely different. So it doesn't matter what stage I'm at, who I'm working on, their styles are completely different, their personalities are completely different. So their websites will come out completely different. And so you really have to ask those questions when you're looking for a designer and working with a designer. You have to see, you don't even have to ask. You can just observe. Just by observing them, you can tell. The first way is going through their portfolio. Like I've mentioned this before. I've been going, like, there was a point where I had comparison syndrome, and I would compare myself to all the other great designers in the industry. And I was looking at these designers, and the one thing I noticed is I was like, these websites are great. They're really nice, very pretty, very nicely put together, but they all look the same. Like, you can tell that this is this person's client. Like, that person worked on it. And then I was looking at my portfolio, and I was like, none of these look the same. Like, none of them at all. And I was just like, huh, interesting. And then that's when I realized that's your thing, Samoa. That's the thing that you do, because you hold yourself to a higher standard where you're like, I am going to take your money and I am going to make you something that you will be so proud of. You will be in tears. You're going to be so happy and excited to share who you are with other people. You're going to be like, look at me. This is me. And this is a true representation of me. You know how God created humans and he was like, oh, I love you guys. This is you guys are, yes. You're going to feel like this. Even though you didn't create it yourself, you're going to feel like that, because you're going to be like, she really got me, and she really did what she did more than I expected. Wow. And every time I get that testimonial from a client, I'm like, yes. So yeah, with protecting yourself, you got to ask the hard questions, the uncomfortable questions. You got to go in with these designers, because they're not afraid of taking your money and serving you shit on a silver platter. They're not afraid of doing that. So you need to be really protective of your money and be like, and your dream and what you want and your vision. Protect all of that and be really serious about who you're looking into, who you're talking to, and what they're offering. And honestly, if no respectable designer, I know a couple of designers who also do custom unique sites. Not a lot. There aren't a lot of them out there, but I do know a couple, and they do not charge low. Like, they do not charge
No.
hundreds of dollars for a website. Some of them are like in the upper $7, $8, $9, $10,000 for a
Yes.
website. So watch that too. If somebody's like, I'm gonna give you the world and you only have to give me $300 for that, you already know they're gonna rip you off. So that's it.
Absolutely. You have those conversations, talk to people, and I found with individuals that people don't like to ask the hard questions. And that's one of the things I teach all of my clients, whether it's you working with someone or you reaching out to work with someone in this arena in entrepreneurship, you have to be willing to ask the hard questions because it does make a difference. And if you're going to give your money to someone and you can't sit down and talk to them, if you can't question them, then that does say a lot. But I wanted to say something, and I only understand this from dabbling with websites. What I love about you, since I'm a creative, I used to do hair, I used to design jewelry. I know what it looks like and what it feels like to when you first begin. When I first started, doing jewelry, I would look at videos of what other people created and watch their tutorials so that I could create what they did and say, oh wow, look, this shows that I can do this. But where the magic happened is when I started going into the stores and I was like, oh, look at these beads and these beads. And if I put these together, okay, this is going to be off the chain. And it was a completely different experience. And that's when my sales started going through the roof because of that custom look. Same thing with the braiding. I had my signature look for braiding hair, but like back in the day, gangsta braids and design braids used to be in. And the way that I would be able to just, instead of doing zigzags, because everybody else was doing zigzags, would follow around the shape and the pattern of someone's head, they would be like, wow, not only do these designs look good, but they fall on me and my face a certain kind of way. That is magic. And that's unrestricted. The most horrible thing being a DIYer and doing your own website is going to one of these places and then saying, okay, let's look at the categories. I'm a coach, so I should click on the coach one. Well, all of these look boring. Well, maybe I should look on the one that says the lawyers because it'll be more professional. It's too rigid and stiff. Or maybe I should look for more flair and maybe I should try the one that says baker, but I don't really know what I should put in all of these spots. And the only thing that you're able to do is to look and see what they've already put there and what you can fit in those boxes. And so if they've got a picture up here and then they've got some words at the bottom for you to put text in, you're looking at the size of the text and you're like, okay, well, I guess I got to figure out what I was going to say in 15 sentences to say it in 5 sentences. Or if they got like a big old paragraph, you're like, dang, I only got like a few sentences that I would want to say here. You do this. Even if you don't think it like that, your subconscious mind is trying to fill a space or not put, don't put too much information in a restricted, amount of space. And so it gets really confusing. It gets weird. And then you want to try to put colors together that, don't get me wrong. There's one thing that's being you, and it's another thing to not really understand, complementary and contrasting colors and what really does or doesn't go together. And you can try and you can try and you can try, but if you want it to be clean, if you want it to be crisp, if you want it to be right, and you're ready to, go to that next level, then you don't want to do it yourself anymore. So in the beginning, we get that. And I've heard you say this, and I'll let you elaborate on it a little bit more yourself, that, the beginning entrepreneur, don't do it. You're going to spend all of that money and you're going to get out here and you're going to go and get a website and you're going to do like I did and start off as a life coach. And then you're going to turn around and realize it's really not life coaching, it's personal development. Your husband's going to be screaming in your ear, why won't you just say you're a business coach? And it's going to take you forever to go ahead and just say that, yeah, I'm a business coach and I specialize in mindset and sales or whatever. You're evolving. Part 1 and part 2 of these segments was all about making sure you know who you are and what you do and what you bring to the table. If you're solidified in what you're doing, and don't get me wrong, just because you're a newbie, in the online arena, that's not what I'm saying. Like, I know some people who've been beasts in the industry for 20 years, and you're like the whole 20 year, you by year 5, you were like, I would do this way. And then you come out and you start your own thing, specifically, what you want to do, what did you want. It's about the clarity. That's all I'm saying. It's about the clarity. You don't work with people who are trying to figure out the very basic rudimentary things. You help them with the expression. So those of you that are listening, where are you at? Because if you're one of those people where you're a badass and you're bringing in bank and you're making money, but that there's something that your website can do for you, then you want to do that. Even though I didn't need it, my coach sent me to her testimonial, website. She's got that, and she sends people there for a reason. So the people that want you to think that you don't need a website at all, that's not true. But you just don't want to break the bank on the website when you're not clear. So I'm going to let you kind of go ahead and spin off of what I was saying and any other nuggets that you want to give, to connect with the people. Because I'm hoping and I'm praying you guys are putting all this stuff together. If this is your first segment, go back and listen to last Friday and the Friday before that, because we've been bringing it.
Yeah, that's the thing with people, because a lot of people, because we did talk about this in the confidence section too, like confidence is necessary to create a branded website that sells, right? But a lot of people have it twisted. They're like, I'm not confident about my website, and I'm not confident about my business or anything like that, and I'm not bringing in sales. So you know what? I'm going to get a branded website, and then that'll bring me the confidence that I need. And it's like, no. Most of my clients are not, well, all of my clients are not confident about their website. And that's because they know who they are. They're confident in the value that they bring and who they bring it to. And they hate that their website isn't showing that. There's a difference. There's a disconnect when there are people who are just not confident in who they are. They're not confident in what they're selling, what their value is, who they help, how they help. Like, if you don't know any of those things, and I will know that you don't know. So like my client application, like you fill out this little client profile before you book a meeting with me, I'll already be able to tell. Then after that, when we have our first conversation, I'm going to ask you specific questions. And if you can't answer them, or you can't give me a clear answer, then you're not ready. Unless you're willing to also invest in coaching. So not only are you going to pay a lot of money for the website, but you're going to pay a lot of money for coaching. And then you're going to have to, because you're going to go through these transitions, so you're going to have to constantly keep updating your brand, you're going to have to pay me for support after, for however long it takes you to get to the point where you need to be.
Absolutely.
So instead of doing all of that, I mean, if you want to do it, it's your choice. But instead of doing all of that, it's always better. Like, I always suggest that you wait. You don't need a website right now. A website isn't something that's, honestly, it's not necessary to make money in your business. I'm going to say right now, you do not need a web. You need your skill, and you need a way to process payments and to share your information and how you can help people. That's all you need to start a business and make money. Your website is a tool. It's the same way you hire a virtual assistant. It's the same way you might have a client management system that makes things way easier on you. It's something that you invest in to make your life easier after. That's all that it is. So if you are looking to get to the next level, you're in a transition period where you know where you are, you know where you want to be and where you want to go, and you have a clear mind on that, then the website is perfect for you, because then you invest the time, the energy, and the money into it. And then it's kind of like, oh, okay, I grew this, I created this thing. And now you're like, okay, now go do your job. And it does its job, and it does it indefinitely. As long as you have your website up, it will keep doing its job, keep generating people to your list, keep bringing people to your list, keep bringing customers, and keep doing everything you wanted to do because you set it up that way. That is what it's for. So that's the thing, that like you guys gotta get out of your heads, gotta stop thinking that everything that you need to start a business is outside of you, because it's not. Everything that you need is inside of you. You already have it. Every other thing that everyone is looking to sell you, they're just looking to sell you an easier way. Websites are easy ways. Coaching is just to make things easier and speed things up for you. That's all. So if you're ready to speed things up, if you're at that point where things are ready to be sped up, then yes, invest in coaching. Yes, invest in a website. Invest in all the things you believe will speed things up for you. But other than that, just don't make it an excuse as to why you're not making money in your business, because that's where you really get the catch.
That right there, I'm going to be honest, I'm not even going to touch it. I'm leaving you right. Everything you said was crystal. It was so freaking on point. You guys, if you haven't went to the podcast page to connect with Samoa, do it today. Go to the feature speaker tab, go on there, connect with her. We are going to be back next week. This will be the last segment until we come up with another series, because I like having you on here. We will be talking about the experience. So we've built up all of this stuff, your confidence, your expression, your connection. Let's talk about this experience. And we kind of, drifted into those places a little bit, but we're going to go deep into it next week. So Samoa, always thank you. You're a phenomenal guest. You bring a lot of nuggets and information, value to the table. And I can't wait to have you back next week.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So we are out of here. Until the next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for joining me today. Remember to cultivate a mindset that is biased towards taking action. No bitching, whining, or complaining. Here, our mantra is, real women don't bitch, we get shit done. See you next week as I continue to bring you what you need to keep your head in the game and beast your business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Would you like a specific topic covered? Have a question you would like answered live? Then head on over to realwomen.don't bitch podcast.com. Subscribe to my email list, hit me up, and I got you. Interested in being a guest speaker? You walk the walk? Then you can sign up on the website too. This is your #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs, Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. Signing out. Deuces.
Inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in